Okay, welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Steve. I'm here with Bairnt.
Hey, Steve, we're back again, back as a team. Awesome intro. All right, no, that's one for the books.
Sometimes the things that happen live are hilarious to capture on the camera.
Why
so
I record stuff and I don't go live most of the time. It's good to see you, Steve. Thank you for having me back. I love talking stuff. We got good things to talk about today. It's been great.
Yep, always love having you on. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I don't. It'd be funny to do like a blooper reel sometime of like a recorded playthrough video so people can see like all like what goes on behind the scenes because it's pretty hilarious sometimes. Like, you said what? How'd you mess up that word? What's going
Oh,
on?
you should. Some of the time, I make myself laugh so much when I'm recording. I'll be like trying to read something like, and then he procure what precarious. Okay, try again. Precariously. Oh, there we go. I did it. Then you cheer sometimes, and I start again, even though I said it right. I'm a weird guy.
Yep. Hey, welcome, Snow. Glad to see you here.
Yes.
Welcome. Cool. Yeah, we're here. This is our co-op chat. This is our off the wall kind of live cooperative focus discussion period. So we will go over some cooperative news and then talk about a chat. And so the chat part we're going to talk about is how theme can influence your buying habits or even what's in your collection, for example. Which would be kind of fun. Okay, let's jump into the news part. It is going to be very short today. We only have two things to talk about, and one's already on the screen. And I don't think I have to talk a whole lot about this because I think either you know about this game and you love it, or you've already seen it, or you know about it and you're just gonna you're good, right? So this
Yep,
is
that's about it, Steve. You either love it or it's not up your alley.
right.
Too bad Mike's not here. He would love to talk about this game.
So Too Many Bones Unbreakable. This is launching this Tuesday. So this is a how do you describe it? Was it the first game by Chip Theory Games? It might have been.
Homunculus or homunculus or something. I
Oh,
think
that's
this.
right. Yeah, that was first. Yeah. Anyway, it was
This is
one of the
the second.
first. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think you're right on that one. But this is a adventure game where you are playing as a Gearlock, which is kind of like a gnome, I guess. I would say maybe I
Sure,
don't know.
an adventurer.
Adventure, yeah, and it's based upon using dice and allocating them to your pool and rolling them and you're generally trying to get to a boss and beat the big bad boss and win the game. And along the way, you're gonna be have this tactical board layout where you have different enemy types and using your levels up to along the way to take care of stuff. So
That's a
pretty common theme.
good, good synopsis there, Steve. I love it.
You've played
I
this, right?
what now? What is this one in bringing about? Do we really know? Kind of is it kind of shrouded in mystery still at the time, or is it?
There's some information on it, but I believe this is the last expansion. I'm not positive on that. I think I heard some rumblings it might be. I'm not but yeah, it's because that trove chest. If you're one that has that thing, that's a huge giant box where it has all these really nice drawers to like store all your components for this game because this game comes with tons of really nice chips and really great neoprene mats and components. Like honestly, Shift 3 games production quality is off the charts. Like really good. Yes, no, just did confirm the last big
Yeah.
expansion. Yep, that's what I heard too. And so yeah, it's gonna add more gear locks and basically just more of the same. I don't know if there's anything that's new necessarily. Um,
I'll bet they throw in a mechanic or two, but nothing too groundbreaking.
I would assume so. Yep.
And of course, all the gearlocks play so differently that every one of those new ones will have a way of playing it. Now, I got that trove chest. It was huge. It was awesome. It was amazing, and it went out my door pretty quick.
You did not like this one?
This game sadly did not hit the mark for me.
Mm.
My plays of it were not as enjoyable as I was hoping for, and so yes, this one did leave my collection. I did a famous Mike Cull.
Snow did confirm that they're adding terrain to the combat map, so we have lava
Oh,
chips on the board. So that's cool.
ooh,
That's
lava
kind of
chip.
cool. Yeah,
I don't want
I played this once, which is only so it's only one play. I
to.
enjoyed my play, but it also wasn't something that I felt like I needed to go out and purchase. So I
Yeah.
didn't like it that much to go have my own copy, I'd say. But if someone were like, "Hey, do you want to play Too Many Bones?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, let's play it."
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's cool. Good game. I know a lot of people love it. Like you said, Mike's a really big fan of this on the channel.
Hmm.
I don't think Colin quite cares for it. I'm sure there's others on the channel that like it too. But
Colin was not a fan as well. He
okay,
also, I think, had just the base box. Then I think that left his collection. I don't
okay,
think he went too deep into it. I went all the way up to the trove chest because I was really excited about the campaign system. Surprise, surprise. And that's just kind of it didn't really live up to what I was hoping it would do. So it just kind of it. But I mean, the game mechanics and stuff were pretty solid. I mean, it wasn't
yeah,
like it was a terrible game. It just didn't fit my needs. The theme was okay, but the gameplay wasn't great.
yeah. I agree with that.
The theme in there, you like that, Steve?
Yeah, thoughts in there. Yeah, Snow mentioned there too. It's one of the top solo games according to One Player Guild.
Mm, yep, I
So
can
I
see
can
that.
see that. Yeah, I know it kind of gets weird when you have a lot more. When the player scaling in this game gets kind of strange with the difficulty. I've been because I only played it, like I said, that one time 2 player, and it worked well at 2 player. I didn't think any issues with it. So, but I know we were talking about like how this could change with player count, which is maybe another topic we talk about, like how player count affects games and what's
Yeah,
how to deal with that.
that's
But
a
anyway,
really good one. There's a lot of games out there that can change depending on how many people you're playing with.
absolutely. Cool. Well, I won't go into any more of this. If you know Too Many
Yep.
Bones, you're going to be back in this most likely. If you don't know Too Many Bones, you're probably just going to skip it. This is just one of those games that like it's been going on
And
for
if
a
you
long.
have the ultimate pledge from Chip Theory Games, you will be getting a copy.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, the strategist, right?
Yes, or something like that. Yes.
Yeah, that's a cool concept that they did that.
Mhm.
I don't know if I would ever want to do that personally because like as much as I like supporting certain publishers, like yeah, dude, you do a great job. Here's I'll give as much as I can, but sometimes I just don't want every game either. So
Yeah,
even
I'll admit though, if Awakened Realms put out one of those pledges, I might actually get it.
hmm,
I just like every. Of course, I don't have Great Wall, but if I was part of that super pledge, if they had something like that and I got it, I probably would like it and play it. It just at the
absolutely,
time didn't really appeal to me, but who knows if I'd have got
definitely.
it after this already done bundle.
Cool. Okay, so that's the first thing, and there's only one other topic for news. There's a lot of things come out, but there's only 2 cooperative games I saw coming up. The other one, and I don't have a link for this one to show, unfortunately, so I'm just gonna pull up the Board Game Geek page. That is Dutch Resistance: Orange Shall Overcome. So this should be coming up this week. This is talking about theme. This is totally down my alley. So I don't know what it is about games that have like this. Hey, let's work together to do like do some sabotage, do some stealth thing going on, and I don't know. I love that type of stuff. So this game is a 1 to 5, yeah, 1 to 5 player game, and you're gonna be running around as the Dutch Resistance, and of course, and you're trying, and it's gonna be, I think there's 6 scenarios in the game, and each scenario is gonna have a different winning and losing condition. So I don't have a whole lot that I can share about that specifically. But the interesting thing about this game is on your turn, you'll be doing 5 actions, kind of 5 actions. You'll be doing 4 actions specifically. The fifth action is done by another player on your turn. So it's interesting in that like your turn consists of doing what you want to do plus someone else helping out. So it's sounds really interesting. Like it's like almost like a mini turn within your turn. I don't know how that works exactly. I don't know if it's as simple as like, hey, I'm going to do these things, and I want to do this one thing on your turn. Cool, no big deal. And then you do the normal round procedures. But I mean, if that works a little bit like V Sabotage, or which previously called V Commandos, where you can do things at any time during other people's turns, I love that. Love that. It adds so much tactical interest in that game. It's great. But yeah, you basically you're trying to keep your alibi under wraps. If your alibi gets exposed, or if you lose enough courage, you lose the game. But unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot more information about this one. This is one I will be definitely checking out when it hits the. I think it's going to Kickstarter. Yeah, it's going to Kickstarter.
You seem to know quite a bit already. I have an idea of what it is. Good work, Steve.
So thanks. So I know I like these types of games. So like V Sabotage is one of my favorites. So okay, that's honestly all we got for news. Pretty quick and easy.
Oh, except for one thing. In case people missed it, I there's a certain YouTube channel that actually was pretty excited that he got a copy of Machina Arcana Third Edition. So I'll be doing a playthrough.
Woo!
I did not expect that. It was very kind of them to do that for me. So I'm excited to get that back to the table and be doing a mission in the new expansion that's going to be coming soon to everybody else.
That is awesome. I can't wait to see it, Bairnt. So glad you got the coverage for that one. So
Yes, that's pretty cool.
cool. Okay, let's move
That's
on.
fine.
That's what you do. Yes. Let's move on to the chat. The chat is about theme in games. I know Snow mentions earlier, and I'll just mention it too. But yeah, she's like, theme matters 100%. Done. Agreed. Right. But let's get into more of the nuance. I'd say that comment made me laugh, so I had to bring that up.
That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, Snow mentioned Machina Arcana is amazing. I need to play this. I need to do that. We need to figure that out. So okay. So what we're talking about specifically, we're talking about when you are looking at buying a game or looking at what games might interest you, or even what's in your collection. You know, like how much does theme influence your collection and your buying habits? And I think one thing we can talk about is if I'm looking at a game and it has a specific theme, like maybe Arkham, for example, or a horror theme. Like for me, that's a strong indicator I might not buy it. Like, not that I hate Arkham or horror. I just like that theme just doesn't do anything for me. Like I don't want to play a horror game. I like playing other types of games. You know, things that aren't as grotesque and maybe gross violent. I guess so. Though I say that I play a lot of combat games, so go figure, right?
Don't worry, I'll do those because that's the genre that I shouldn't say I enjoy. It's just one I don't shy away from. So if it has that theme, I'm totally fine with it. I mean, as you've seen by my Arkham stuff, I play that. I've Aliens, obviously, is even though I've always considered Aliens an action adventure or an action movie, but it could still fall sci-fi horror if you wish. The first one, of course. Also, I have what's some other ones that I got that fall in that line here. But yes, I'm trying to think. I'm getting that Madness one, Dawn of Madness or whatever. That one that's done by Dimension Games. They do a lot of that type of thing. So, and I enjoy it. I think a lot of it has to do is if your theme and it works for you. And yes, it does. This one does. As long as the gameplay is pretty solid, the horror aspect for it actually works for me. I don't mind. I think it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, so I think there's like certain themes that I will avoid, and other themes I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to be convinced not to throw my money at. For example, too, right? Like,
for example, one you were just talking about, some kind of like espionage or hidden movement and that kind of stuff for you is usually pretty high up on your list of things to go for.
Absolutely, if it's stealth mechanics for sure. Like the Dutch that specific theme, fine. No, it's not like something particularly interesting, but or not. Well, actually, let's just clarify that. Is I would assume that there's gonna be some opportunity to learn about that history more in that game, which does excite me. So that I'm excited for. But like theme wise, if I see the Marvel, like get out that wallet. Not that I'm going back every Marvel game out there, but like generally that's a strong like ooh.
It definitely makes you look at the game to see if it's something that you'd be interested in, as opposed to a horror game that could have cool mechanics, which it might not even hit your radar because it's just not a theme that fits you.
Absolutely. So Snow mentioned it influences my collection a lot. Like you can't really see reality theme, like war themes, historical ones, and others. I have only 2 games from that, and they're very small and short games. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Like I've heard that from other people too. Like when they want to sit down and play a game, they want a game that is fantasy in some nature, right? Be it space, sci-fi, fantasy, or like your classic, orcs and shields and all that fun stuff, magic. But like when you get into that realism in there, or like some historical significance to it, or even civilization, there's a lot of people that I talk to that don't like that type of stuff.
I honestly don't think I even have a single game that is in that theme, except if that's co-op. If you go to competitive, I've got Axis and Allies back here, and things of that nature. Kind of the older ones. I used to play them a lot when I was younger. I used to playing the Axis. The Axis and Allies used to be huge. When I was in college, I had a guy that lived across the hall. We played it almost every day.
Hmm.
we would play the game. We played this game so much to the point that like on turn 2 or 3, we probably knew the outcome of the game. Or we just start
Wow.
again. It was super weird. We played it that many times. It was amazing. So that's about the only one I have in that genre. And I think you're right. I think when I go to play a game, it's something I'd rather kind of jump out of the reel and
Hmm.
sit down and do. And I think that's true in a lot of things as well. I mean, you got, for example, almost video games are very similar to that, except for stuff like Call of Duty and things like that. Um, and then even like our role playing games, I'm very few of them do you see like, oh, hey, we're gonna play a World War II role playing game. I mean, it's they're I don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's some out there. It's just not one of the mainstream ones. I mean, you got Dungeons and Dragons, you got Cyberpunk, you've got either you're in sci-fi or you're in fantasy. Usually, when it comes to even role-playing games. So I think that's like you said. I think people are wanting to escape when they go to play a game.
And I think that's kind of what Snow was mentioning here too. Well, she made the comment. It's more like realism tends to be depressing, which can be very true, especially playing those war games. Like, wow, it can hit home. Like, I will always remember first play of oh, what's it called? Freedom Underground
Oh
Railroad.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, excellent game. Really well designed. Very respectful in my opinion of like the whole theme, but very tough theme. And like you're reading some of these cards and like what people went through. It's like, oh man, it hits you. And when those slaves get captured in that game, like you feel for that. It's just a cube on the board, right? But man, like, oof, it can hit you. It can hit you hard. Um, but yeah, the yes, you mentioned fantasy being a big one. Yeah, I think a lot of people like fantasy for that reason. One of them she mentioned, I gotta call this one out too. Sci-fi, non-generic, and cutesy themes generally draw me into to check a game closer, which is true for me. I mean, keep the heroes out. I think this is one that both Snow and I agreed on. Like something about like that fun cutesy artwork and like, oh, this looks fun. This looks lighthearted. I want to try it, right? And that drove me into checking it out for sure. Um, Now, there's the impact of theme in trying to acquire games, but there's also themes on like what's already in your collection. Like maybe you have 50 dungeon crawls. Do you need 51 dungeon crawls?
Yes.
I'm looking at you, Bairnt.
Yes. Yes, you do. That's actually a really great point. I do have quite a bit of them back here, to the point where I think I have so many satchels back here I don't even know what to do with anymore. Those are all dungeon crawlers, all those little big, huge, giant clear boxes back there. I've ripped apart the boxes and threw everything in these huge, giant satchel things. Anyway, um, yes ish. Again, I'm going to say, yes, you do need the other dungeon crawler. But when I start reading about the dungeon crawler, I look at it and I think, does it have a mechanic I don't have? Now I'm going to the mechanic part of it. I know that the theme, I'm already opening the wallet and going, take my money, boom, 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 right? Now I'm diving into it to see if there's a mechanic that is in there that I don't have in another game. Is there's a story in there that I don't see in another game that I have to play? That's where you move past theme to the next like level of it. It's a matter of figuring out if that theme is going to be something that gets you to that next level. So does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Yeah, yeah. So for you, is theme the first gate to get into your collection? Gate point that you look at, generally.
Yes. I think a lot of it. I think again, yes, ish. There's not a. I think most of the time it's because there's not really a theme I'm going to shy away from if it's a game concept I'm into. I mean, for example, one of the elephant in the room is Kingdom Death Monster. A lot of people are going to be turned off by the theme of that game being adult theme. It's a
Hmm.
very adult theme type game, whereas a lot of graphic images and things like that, and even in the writing and things of that nature. But can is that a thing that's going to stop you from buying it, or does the mechanics and the game concept and all that outweigh something that might turn you off? And for me, again, I'm not ever I'd never turn away from a theme if it got a game inside it that I like, and that one I like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Pumpkinhead's giving Myth a hard time here. Myth mechanic, write your own rules. Which,
That's why it's yes, because I am a dungeon master, so I don't mind
mhm.
writing my own rules. So like, what does
Mhm.
poison do? Whatever I want. That's what poison does. Yes, Myth gets a hard time, but as you can see, I think it's right here is my Myth giant box of adventures.
Oh
Now,
yeah,
now it's a dungeon crawl. As soon as I got that box, it became a giant dungeon crawler game, which made it even better.
sweet.
So it advanced the game to that point.
Snow mentioned another comment about intertwining of theme and mechanisms, which I think is probably another topic to discuss. Which I think is, at least for me, like the what I'm really looking for games. Like
Mhm.
theme gets me interested in it, right? Mechanics lets me stay with the game, makes the game
Yeah.
fun in that sense, right? And then for me, and then having those intertwined where you can have the theme, which you're aware of, help support the mechanics, or vice versa. I like doing versa vice because I think it's hilarious. But but it'll help with the learning factor of that game and understand the game, right? If if in the rules that the theme and my head can't get so intertwined that I don't have to open the rulebook, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. This is how I expect to work. It just helps the experience so much more.
So then, on that note, if a game's mechanics, let's say for example, Kingdom Death is a hidden movement like stealth game, would that have been something or that theme already have turned you off and you wouldn't really even looked into it?
That's a good question. Like, if it's like a grotesque like horror theme, but with a stealth mechanic in there,
It had exactly the kind of mechanics and the interest of what how you'd play a game. If that had that, would that like perk your interest enough to at least look at it and probably still not back it, or would you go like, I could probably go past this?
that's a great question. I would definitely look at it, and that might push it past it. I don't
Sure.
think theme is that strong of a draw for me, in that I would say no to a theme I generally don't seek out.
Mhm.
Like if the mechanics are there and it makes sense to me, I would do that. Snow had interesting comments here. If I don't like a theme, even if it's mechanically the best game in the world, I won't buy or play it.
Mhm.
So, which is interesting. Like with so many games coming out nowadays, just like it's just a ton. Like even on
Yeah.
this chat we do every week, I only focus on cooperative games on for the news, and there's tons of games coming out every week for the news. Like if we didn't do that, we could usually just do news, and it would fill the time.
For an hour, we could sit and talk for an hour on what new games come out this week.
Exactly.
That would be
Easy. Easy. So like there's so many games come out where I feel like, yeah, if you don't like a theme, you don't get it. No big deal, because guess what? Most likely there is gonna be a game with maybe some similar mechanics, and maybe not. But whatever, a theme that will draw you in. Absolutely. So
yes, I agree. Um, and interestingly enough, I mean, I normally am not much of it when it comes for my personal theme that I don't really go towards. It's usually modern day. And like you said, it seems to be a lot of people like the fantasy and the sci-fi. I'm kind of one of those people that isn't a big, I shouldn't say a big fan of modern age day stuff, but then I mean, it's not something I don't look at. I mean, I'm going to be getting the Ghost Betwixt, which is a modern day dungeon crawler, and it's
hmm
just because I looked into it because it said dungeon crawler. Then I looked into it. Where if it would have just been modern day like family builder, I'd have been like, no. But maybe a fantasy like family builder, maybe I might because I'm more into the fantasy and the sci-fi.
Sure. I think one of the things we could talk about too is there such thing as too much of a theme, right? Like, if I have a Star Wars game, I'm going to say Star Wars Rebellion because it was on the channel recently. Like,
Yes.
if you feel like this is the quintessential Star Wars game, do you need another, right? Or maybe does that prevent you from buying other Star Wars games? Where I just need one Star Wars game, right? Like for you, I
Hmm.
know Dungeon Crawlers are you just love that whole type of game, so you're going to try to get all of them. But I guess assume there's going to be some themes where maybe you don't need that. Maybe okay if having just one in there.
You do have a good point. There is a game that my wife and I play quite a bit that's outside our genre, and it's kind of a tableau builder type. Like for example, like a Mars Ares expedition, things like that. We have a game called Villagers that we picked up from believe it or not, the group that made the stickers for Gloomhaven, the reusable stickers. Fish something fish. I forget the name of the company, sadly. But they actually made the Gloomhaven reusable stickers, but they actually made a board game called, or sorry, a card game called Villagers, and it's the only one in our collection like this, where it's like a tableau type builder, like you're drafting cards to create like this whole like village. It really is like a village building game. And we probably not own another one of these. There are many out there, I'm sure, but this is like the one that we decided, hey, this might be something we might enjoy. So outside the theme, outside even the mechanics I play, I do have a game like this, but I wouldn't probably turn to other games like this because I have this one. Now, when it comes to a fantasy dungeon crawler, they could almost be. 75% exactly the same as the next dungeon crawler, and I would probably get it
Mm-hmm.
because that
Mm-hmm.
little 25% would be enough to push me into being like, oh, a fantasy dungeon crawler. This is awesome. This one has wizards that shoot machine guns instead of wizards that shoot fireballs. Oh, I gotta get this one. I mean, that's enough. I mean, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, A Frank had a comment on here says, "I will buy lots of my favorite theme as long as I like the mechanisms," which I think it seems to be true for everyone I'm seeing around chat,
Yeah,
and we both agree with that too, right?
yeah. But I mean,
Absolutely.
stepping out your comfort zone, I think every once in a while, just to try things, is always the best bet. I mean, I've got a game. Let's go and get to it right there. Street Fighter. I backed this kind of on a whim because I thought it looked kind of cool, and I used to play those kind of games when I was growing up as video games. It's a two to four player competitive, of course, game. Like, would I've ever bought that normally? Probably not. No, I'm guessing there's something pretty good, but
Sorry,
it's great. Go for it, Steve. What do you got?
Pumpkin's cracking me up. He's like, "Where's this wizards that shoots guns theme?" Because that sounds amazing.
I don't know, but now somebody's got to make one because that's pretty awesome. I bet.
I agree. We're definitely missing that theme. We need to have that.
We definitely do that, Steve. That's for sure. But no, the Street Manners game, I've had a lot of fun playing it, and it's just again, if it wasn't for the fact that it was tied to a video game I used to play, I probably wouldn't have picked it up. There's a lot of other 2D fighter or other fighter games out there. Mike even had one in his everything games or whatever. There was
Mhm.
a I forget what the name of that one was, but it
Forever
was a
games.
yeah, his Forever games. He
Mhm.
had a fighting game like that had that was like a I think a card driven fighter type
Probably
game.
Exceed. I'm guessing.
I don't remember which one. Fighter. Yeah, which one would you say?
Exceed.
I think so. I think yeah, that's exactly which one he was talking about.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's one I probably wouldn't have expected to ever see in his Forever games, but there it was. I was like, oh, so a theme that might be out of his normal play style, but it fit him just well that he kept it. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's another comment that let's see if I can find it real quick. I'll bring it up here. Um, you guys are doing awesome chatting. Oh yeah, here it is from Snow. So IPs have one other side effect. If you're not familiar with the IP, will it affect your enjoyment of the game? And she says, in her experience, yes. And yeah, I think that's true. I think it will. I mean, if you are familiar with it, you will obviously like it better than others. I would say, but it also might set your expectations differently too. Like I know with I hear this all the time for the Marvel games. Is like, hey, I know this theme. I know these characters. When is X and such characters going to be added to the game, right? Or does this mechanic make sense with the powers that superheroes supposed to have, for example? So that
Hmm.
comes up a lot, almost in
I think
every.
that's a tough one to do, especially in the, like you're talking the Marvel universe or even like a Star Wars universe, something because there's so much lore, there's so much already kind of perceived. This is how it has to be. Like when you're,
Yep.
it's really hard to do sometimes. Even and it even comes to the movies. Like sometimes you're seeing something in a movie, and you're like, that's not how the character is. Like or in any of the shows or cartoons or anything in that genre that has a fully established system. For example, Lord of the Rings again. If you
Mm-hmm.
have that world that's already built, you can't just have Gandalf pull out a machine gun. Ha! Come back to machine gun. Because you'll be like, but that's not the book. That can't happen, kind of thing. So
Right. Right.
yes, I think you could have two different forms here. You could either have the people with higher expectations or one with lower expectations, where it's like, oh, this is a great dungeon crawler, but it's an aliens game. I really didn't like aliens, and I'm not into the horror genre, so I don't think I'm going to play that dungeon crawler. I'm like, but it's aliens, so yes, I'm going to play that dungeon crawler. So yes, you're going to get probably two warring factions, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and
Kind
I've played games where I wasn't familiar with the IP or the inspirations. I think probably one of the bigger ones is the Contra game. It's not out yet. It's coming out eventually.
Oh yeah,
Because I played the board game before ever playing the video game. I played the video game after the fact for that one. So now, like looking back on it, like, oh, okay, it makes sense why the game's built that way, right? And why they made certain decisions from the gameplay mechanics, for example.
you've
Um,
never played Contra until you played the game.
uh huh.
How young are you? Were you around when Nintendo was? This was like when you bought the Nintendo. Like the next game you grabbed was Contra. That's just what you did.
We just never had growing up. But now we have an arcade, so yeah, I play all the content I want now.
Do you get those unlimited lives with it? Is it like got the whole? Is it like the Nintendo based one where you can like get the 30 lives, or is it the normal one like that you can't adjust the lives?
I think it's the normal one.
Okay, next time you put it on your thing, before you start, hit up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. See if you get 30 guys.
Okay, we'll try that next time. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, you heard it here first. The only man, I think, on the entire planet that has never heard of the up, down, down, left, right, BA, start concept.
Well, I've heard that. I've heard that password, but I've never tried it in the arcade. I guess I could try it. So
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
give it a shot. You should try it in any Konami game. It works almost on every Konami game. You get something. Greatest,
yeah.
you get a
Pumpkin dimension too. There
upgraded.
you go. Up, down, down, left, right. BA start. Yep.
Yep, yep. In Contra, you get or in our Gradius, you get a fully ready to go ship. In Life Force, you again get 30 guys. Another Konami game. Almost any Konami game, you get some super bonus when you put in that code.
I've never thought about trying that on the arcade. I gotta try it now. We'll do it after
And
the
if you got
stream.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out, you just put 007-373-5963, and you'll be able to fight Mike Tyson. That's the code to get to him.
Oh, fun! Oh,
I'll be
fun!
like 104 and not even know my name, but I'll still know that code to get to Mike Tyson.
My nose cracked
It's
me up
forever
here.
great my braid. I don't even remember my home phone number anymore, and I remember that code.
Nice. Yeah, what's this up, down, down stuff? Yes, yes. Oh man. Oh yeah,
Sorry,
pumpkin.
way off topic there. You shocked me there for a little while.
No,
Everything.
no, yeah. You just never
Hey,
played it.
what? Who are you?
The Oath evokes Game of Thrones intrigue and politics, and Venom Assault obviously drips into GI Joe, and I love both those games, which is a really interesting point because there are themes you really like. For example, like we mentioned Marvel, but there's other games like Sentinels of the Multiverse, which obviously pulls from that Marvel IP. It's a different style of it.
Mm-hmm.
And does that affect how much you like it? And I think for me, that's definitely a yes. Like, if it was Marvel, I'll just flat out would like it more. But when I see the connections drawn to his characters, I still like it from that standpoint, just not quite as much.
Mm-hmm.
So, Frank giving me crap there, and he's like, "What's this home phone of which you speak?"
Oh yes, you're looking at the old guy that are 3 bedrooms back in the back bedroom. Me and my 2 sisters. We had the old
Oh, the rotary thing.
rotary phones.
Yeah.
Yep, whatever to call my friend. If you had a phone number that had like 9896 or something, like, oh my gosh, why can't he have a 2424 number?
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Oh man, we went way off topic.
Yes, we did. So the themes of games are definitely something that some people do. It either is a instant buy for people, or it's something at least lets people look at it to see if that mechanic is what they're interested in. May it be like if you're into fantasy, or you're into dungeon crawlers, or you're into Euros. We didn't even touch on Euros. If you're into a Euro player, what is it that a theme like? I know Spirit Island's kind of the big Euro in cooperative gaming, at least for this channel. I've only played it twice. I'm 100% on this game. I've never lost. I'm amazing. I'm the best Spirit Island player ever. But again, now that one is a great game, but I don't own it. Well, one, Colin has everything, but I can just borrow it. But two, it doesn't have a theme that really strikes me as I needing to play it, and it also has the mechanics that don't really strike me as playing it. Now, if this would have been maybe an Aliens version of Spirit Island, I might have looked into it. I may have been like, wow, this is really cool. Like I can like put Hicks out there, I can put Drake out there, I can like put Vasquez out there, and they're gonna have certain things about these aliens that are growing on the board and things like that instead of the colonists. I mean, maybe I would have gotten into it.
Yep. One thing I've been thinking about a lot is from a content creator standpoint, right? Because we both produce videos for people to watch or not watch.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But when watching other people play games or like talking about what they like, what they dislike, I think it would be very beneficial in my mind if we had a website that said, "Hey, here's Bairnt. Here's the types of things he likes. Here's the types of mechanics he likes, right? Or genres he likes, right? Types of games."
Mm-hmm.
And so then having that like spelled out, I'm curious as a consumer, right? I mean, I watch other people play too. Like, I feel like for me that would help me a lot, like understanding. Okay, I understand they made this comment because they like these types of games, right? Or understanding where they're drawing from, understanding
Yeah,
their biases essentially. I don't know. This ties into that a little bit.
I think that's a really good idea. I like that what you bring to the table. I mean, just to bring up a game recently that kind of was flying around for quite a while and got, I shouldn't say negative press, but I don't think it got the press it was hoping. But it maybe was given to the people that didn't have that as something they're interested in, and that was that new Descent game.
Mm.
Like Colin and I, absolutely, we can't get enough of it. We love it. The table presence is amazing. The app-driven system works great for us, but a lot of people it was kind of met with resistance because maybe it was given to people that either aren't into apps or it didn't like how much of an integration it had. And so you're going to get, I think, a lot of some of the reviewers came out as not enjoying it as much as they were hoping to, and the expectations I think were maybe they were too high and it fell short. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I mean,
makes
so
perfect sense.
if you're looking for if you're a person that say you like Bairnt's games, you like all the mechanics he does, and he's doing Descent, I'm going to listen to what he says, not these other 10 people that just kind of do games on their own and they haven't really told me what they're into, because maybe that, like you're saying, it falls in line with what I enjoy, and it does. It falls in line with what I enjoy. Now, it doesn't mean that's one thing I've actually done in my channel that I've tried to do is actually, I know I haven't done it as well as I probably should, is expand my horizons to kind of show off other games. And I think that I know I've got a couple coming that are outside of my genre that I'm excited to do, because I think it'll help me open my eyes to some other genres that I might like, and I've just turned them off because they don't have the theme I'm interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the one benefit doing what we are doing as a group at One Stop, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
is having, because we all kind of know each other's preferences and what we like and dislike. And so when somebody comes up like, hey, by the way, would you be interested in covering this game? Or we see a game coming up and we're like, you know what, who from us would have the most fun doing that one, right? Because one, it's just more fun as a content creator to talk about a game you actually enjoy, right? It's not, it feels like work and just no one likes doing it if you're
Right.
doing a game that you just dislike for whatever reason. And then two, like on the flip side, being able to have some enthusiasm around the game, right? Some excitement around it helps everyone at the end. So
I'm
not saying
not doing
we.
my.
Oh, My Little Pony games.
Nope, that is not the theme I'm going to be going to play next. Sorry to tell you that, Pumpkin. Not going to do My Little
Oh
Pony.
yes.
But anyway, sorry, Steve. It's just I saw that.
Nope, nope.
It's pretty.
Got to just one that. That's a great one. So Marcel, yeah, theme. I live and breathe. Yep. And I
But
think.
touching on what you said, that's very true. I think that we all kind of reach out to each other and say, "Hey, this company has a game coming out. Who would want to be interested in doing something for it?" Sadly, I was not there in North Carolina to intercept the package from Sky Kingdom Games to Steve, or Bairnt and Colin would have done it for you guys, but I didn't get the plane ticket
This
in
one?
time. Oh my gosh, Steve! I just want to come to your house and mug you. I'm, I'm
You're
proud
always
to mug you.
welcome. Yeah,
But
but
that game does look awesome. Your stream of it was amazing. You did a fantastic job on
thank
it.
you.
So if anybody is interested in this game, please check out Steve's stream. It was fantastic.
More content
Showed a
coming for
lot
that
of
one. It's a great, it's
yeah,
an awesome game. Awesome game. That's
yes.
current game.
But for example, he was really into this game, and so he was the one that got the copy of it.
Right.
When Glorious Aliens, Another Glorious Day in the Core hit, I mean, everybody's kind of said, "Hey, Bairnt, this one's coming out. Do you want it?" I'm like, "Yes." Yes.
I,
Dawn of Madness, same thing. It was a theme that nobody else really wanted to cover, and I said I would love to do Dawn of Madness. I don't mind the horror theme, and actually, it was a really compelling. This game is completely changing now from when I did the Kickstarter based on community feedback and stuff. But what he was planning to do, his story concepts are twisted. I mean, to the point of just they're really maniacally twisted, and it's interesting to see how a person can think in that realm, which is why I really want to do the game. I want to see how his mind thought about these things. So it was neat to even talk to him about the game at Gen Con to kind of see what he was thinking when he thought of these things in his head, because they're, oh, like I said, they're a little twisted. So anyway, but yes, so it is cool that we have this group that can do this. It's really nice.
yeah, I remember distinctly hearing about a alien game, the alien themed game coming up. And I'm like, Barrett, have you reached out to them yet? Like, no, I haven't heard about this game. Okay, I'm contacting them. You're getting this game right now.
Yep,
So it's like,
it'll be there in a week. Yay!
so. Oh, Marcel has an interesting comment here. Dawn of Madness had an awesome theme, but the mechanics were too overbearing.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
This is exactly the problem. That like I said, that is why the game is probably on a. I would say probably I would guess it got 75% overhauled, as in like the
mm,
mechanics were 75% changed. I'm
yep,
sure like you said, the theme is about the only thing that's probably staying right now with that
yep.
game. which is kind of cool because I was even doing to Kickstarter. It was pretty rough. I was having a hard time grasping all the concepts he was trying to put into the game. I could see where he was going, but I think he was trying to make it too complex of a game when it's really just it was a very cool story-based game, and there's a lot of stuff bogging it down with the mechanics, like he said.
I've seen this comment a lot, and I'm gonna pull this up. A Frank mentioned +1 for cartoons, which I think we'd all agree on. And I wonder if this is another thing to talk about theme wise is nostalgia, right?
Oh yeah.
Getting back to the Contra thing, right? A lot of people, maybe not everyone on the stream, has played Contra before the board game before playing Contra the video game. So there's a lot of nostalgia for that board game concept. But same thing with the cartoons, right? Like if there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game coming up, guarantee my wife would be like, oh, I need to look at this game. What is going on? So she loves the Turtles theme, for example. So
I actually think that we're entering into this genre right now. I think this is one that's really
yeah,
coming to the forefront,
I agree.
especially with the universe. Is it who is the company that did the Alien game, the Horrified game, the ones that are all at Target now? I forget the name of the company. I could probably look at. Oh, it's out in my other room in the games that I play quite often.
It's not,
So
is
it's
it
not
Cosmos? I don't think it's Cosmos, is it?
no, but it's but anyway. I'm sure somebody will help me out in the chat.
I'm
It
sure.
seems like they're on a huge run of these. Like they have Gargoyles just came out. They've got
Yeah,
the Goonies. They've got
yeah.
like all these games are starting to come out from the '80s that I lived in. Steve did not live in the '80s because he never played Contra. But like this '80s genre is really starting to hit the forefront when it comes to like light games that families can play. Because I mean, you think about it, you could play Goonies with your kids and then be like, hey, let's go watch the movie. And then when you watch it with your 6 and 7-year-old, you can realize, oh, wait, this really isn't PG.
Yeah, BJJ Zombie mentioned Ravensburger was the name.
Thank you. Yes,
Thank
that's
you.
it.
Appreciate that.
So again, it's just yes, and I think these are games that like people my age are now trying to play with like their kids, or even
Yes.
10 years younger than me are really looking forward to playing with their kids. Like, look, I got this cool Gargoyles game, and after playing like Horrified, they know similar concepts because they know that they kind of keep this. I shouldn't say they do because I haven't played all the games they brought out with, but I think they kind of keep a similar feel of a light type game that they can play with families. It seems to be kind of their concept of games that they've been putting out. And so knowing you're going to get those kind of mechanics, then it's just a matter of that theme hitting you. Did you watch Gargoyles with the entire cast of Star Trek Next Generation as voicing them? Yes. Okay, well then that's great. This theme might be part of your deal. Or did you watch DuckTales growing up? Well, this DuckTales game might be your deal. I think or Masters of the Universe, like you said. Yes, I had many a He-Man character. Yes, I am sad that I sold them at a garage sale for a nickel each when I was older because I never knew of this thing called eBay coming up in this world.
Okay, this is for you, you Bairnt. BJJ Zombie said, if you play Goonies and do a truffle shuffle with the cards, the universe may implode.
Yes. I should actually get that just for that purpose.
You should.
No, I actually do not. I do not own the Goonies game. I should. I think it's
You have to do it for the truffle shuffle.
Yeah, someday I'll do the truffle shuffle. No, I'm not doing it right now.
Goonies never say die. Yes.
Goonies do never. And I did watch this with my I think at the time it was 10 or maybe even 9 and 6, and we were watching it. Both Rob and I are like, they swear a lot more than I remember them in this movie. Yeah. This is not PG.
Right.
But
Michelle had an interesting comment here. Nostalgic concepts are tricky to design because you want the feel of the IP, but you also need to make it interesting enough for adults without losing the theme.
Yeah.
Right, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have these expectations to meet, right? If you miss those expectations, you'll lose people, right? And if you do too much into that theme, that people who aren't familiar with it may lose interest, right? It's a tricky thing to do. So
yeah, I mean, case in point, that Alien game that I got, it's great. I enjoy it. Does it fit the theme? It does a really good job at hitting the theme. No character elimination. Really, what the alien did in the ship was basically just kill everybody. So I mean, you got to balance that. Is that something that you really care about, making it that true to the movie?
Right,
and if it is, and you're into that movie, was that going to turn you off? It didn't for me, but for some it might. I mean, so yes, it's a fine line. I think it's Noah's saying to try to hit that nostalgia, keeping the movie or game similar to something like Contra that you remember. Steve doesn't, and so. I think the theme of this one's going to be Co-op chat. Steve's never played Contra.
Yep, that's all you need to know. Oh man, excellent. Well, I think that's probably the perfect comment to end this on because that sums it up perfectly, right? So
That's right. It sums up. Steve's never played Contra. Theme is important in games, and I think it's something that you have to think about when you're looking into a game. A lot of people, and also on the flip side, sometimes if it's a theme that's outside of your comfort zone, looking past that, at least seeing what the mechanics of a game is, you might be surprised and it might open your eyes to something that is new out there that you've never played before. I mean,
absolutely.
I have played Spirit Island. Would I own it? No, because Colin does. Would I play it again in a heartbeat? Yes, thanks to Steve and Colin both showing me the game. I would have never played it if it wasn't for them because it's totally out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's out of the theme I would normally play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really great to make sure you kind of sit down every once in a while and try out things that you normally probably wouldn't have. I mean, I've always said it myself. Like when Colin goes, I don't know if this is going to be your kind of game. I'm like, Colin, every game is my kind of game. I would be willing to try any game because I know there are gems and great games out there that if it wasn't for people outside of my little circle, I would probably have never tried the game. So yeah. I think theme is important, but it's also something you need to remember to kind of look past if you want to try to and reach out and try something new.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So cool. There's the theme of the talk. Oh, and remember, Steve's never played Contra. Left, right, BA, start. Come on, Steve. You're gonna go. Steve's gonna get off here. He's gonna walk over to his arcade console. And he's gonna put that in right now and see if it works.
Yeah, and now I have to do a stream of me playing on the arcade, playing Contra, just to show people, right? Get an overhead camera shot. But yes, cool. Okay, I'm gonna go end it for today. I think the next thing that's coming up on this channel is gonna be a Voidfall play later tonight.
Oh.
So
that'll be awesome. I'll have to check it out. I've read into that game. It has a good theme, but I don't really know much more about it. So I'll have to check it out. Thank you to everybody in the chat. It's awesome to see you all here. We have a great number of people. This chat is amazing. You guys crack us up. You guys give us some great topics to talk about. So outside of this, if you're listening to it, make sure to please let us know if there's anything you'd like us to talk about. We are very open. This is, like Steve said at the beginning, a completely open topic. As you can tell, we fly off the rails a lot of times.
Absolutely.
And just have a really good time talking about games and life in general.
Sounds good. Yeah, we're open to whatever. Like this is meant to be a place for the community to come together and talk about whatever interests us at the time. Is what it comes down to, and keep it cooperative, themed, right, focus. So, but yes.
If it's not cooperative, we probably don't know too much about it because it's, again, something we don't do very much. But
that's right.
Remember, keep yourselves open. You might find one you like.
Exactly. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you at the next stop.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.